All right, so welcome to our recorded tutorial session. Talks about debentures. Okay, so we have a sample problem here and we will try to journalize it and we will have to prepare amortization table for debentures. Okay, so let's go through. On 1st July 2022, Alpha Limited issued $700,000 face value, 6% per annum, 5-year term bonds. The prevailing rate was 8%. Interest will be payable at year end. Okay, so our requirement is to journalize the issuance of bonds, interest expense, including amortization of bonds, 1st July 2022 till 2024, assuming the year end will be 30th June 2024. Okay, so the first thing that you will need to do when you face this kind of problem is to calculate for the issue price. Now, as you can see, there is a difference between the 6% the stated rate and 8%, which is the market rate. So which means there will be certain difference between the face value of the bonds against the issue price. So to calculate that one, we need to have this. So we already had the principal amount, we have the stated rate, and then the market rate. The series or the term will be 5 years. You will need to pay it annually, and the annual interest payment will be this. You calculated that one by getting getting the product of the 700,000 multiplied by 6%. Right. So in calculating present value, 5 years, you can do different ways. I'll present to you two ways. One is using a formula in Excel, and the other one is manual. Okay, so let's start first on present value. So in order for you to do that, uh, so I already have prepared here, but I will show you how to do it in Excel. So you just type the equal sign, present value, bracket, rate. The rate that you will use is the market rate, then comma, and per means the period, this one, comma. Now we're calculating for present value of 1, not the annuity, so which means we'll leave that payment as 0, okay, comma. And then the FB here is the principal amount, but you make it negative, okay, and then parenthesis, okay. Now, if you're calculating for present value of an annuity using Excel, so same, we have to type equal sign PV, bracket, the rate, which is the market rate, comma, and pair, comma. Then the annual payment here is negative 42, comma, 0. Okay, so we have this. Or you can do it like this, straightforward, present value, bracket, uh, rate, rate, which is 8%, and pair is 5, and then payment, this one, and then future value, make it negative, this one, then, sorry, it should be, okay, it should be negative there, okay? So you can do different ways on calculating present value using Excel, or you do it manually. Let me just erase this, okay? Now here, the future value will be the same with the principal amount and the interest payment, okay? Now the present value factor that we will use is 8% for 5 years. Okay, take note of that. Okay, so let's unhide it. Now, this one is present value factor of 1, 8%, 5 years. So we'll go and check here. So 8% at 5 years. So 8% here, then 5 years. This will be the factor. Okay, 0.68058. You can see it here. Now, if you're calculating for annuity, you use this present value factor of an annuity. This one. Okay, 8% for 5 years. Let's check here. 8% and then 5 years. This one, 3.992.71. Sorry, 3.99271. This one. Then if you calculate that one, you get the product of these two, future value multiplied by present value. You have the present value here. Get the sum. Of course, there will be difference because of the rounding of error. Okay, that will be still acceptable. Now, we'll use this and transfer it here, okay, in our amortization table. All right. So in our amortization table, the interest expense will be you multiply it by this A opening balance multiplied by 8%, which is the prevailing rate. The interest payment here will be the 6% of that 700,000, which is 42,000. You get the difference. Now, your aim here is to make this closing balance at 700,000. Okay. So when you prepare this. So what will happen is this one, the difference between interest expense and interest payment, whatever difference will be, you have to add from opening balance to get the closing balance. Here. You can always pause the video if you wish to so that you can uh, further see the steps that I'm doing. Okay. All right. So coming back to the discussion, this closing balance will be obviously the opening balance here, and the cycle will continue on and on and on. Okay. So this one is the product of this opening balance multiplied by 8%, then 6% of the principal, then get the difference, and then add. So it will be like that for until the time that the bond life will end, and the final amount here in this case will be 700,000. Okay, to journalize it, first debit cash and then credit debenture because you are the one who issued the debenture, so you have a liability. Someone had purchased it, so you receive cash. So upon the first installment first interest payment, journal entry will be debit interest expense. As you can see, the amount here is same here. Okay, let me copy this. Okay, as you can see, it's the same amount here. Okay, and then cash, which is the interest payment or cash payment, will be the same here. Okay, and then the decrease or increase in liability will be here, right? So just getting those information that you calculated from amortization table and transferring it here. The same way, if you do it in 2024, it will be similar to that. So you'll get this 52,290 as your interest expense. Cash payment will be constant, and debenture liability increase will be 10,290. All right, so that's the end of my recorded lecture. I hope you learned something.